So I want to show you a few things about this album cover that you may have not noticed before that you might find kind of interesting. Now, first of all, going around this seal, you have 4 snakes, but you only see 3 heads. Now you have these 2 tails right here that if you follow it up, go to those 2 heads that are facing each other right there. Then you have these 2 tails on the side that if you follow those around, you will see one of them ends here. You've got a head eating what would be the other head. Now, this is kind of a twisted version of the Ouroboros, which is, if you understand that, that's where the snake is eating its own tail. And then you have the other version where you have 2 snakes each eating each other's tails. And then it just kind of symbolizes kind of the yin and yang, or when it's the one, it's kind of eternity. But here they've done this twisted version where the heads come together and he's actually eating his own head. Now, right above that, you see this Serpens Albus. Serpens Albus in Latin means Whitesnake. Okay, so then you go, okay, well, cool, we've got these little characters. So then you go up here to the top, and then I notice something immediately as I start looking at these characters. And I check this out. Look at that character right there. And I thought, where have I seen that character before? If you look on Slaughter's album, Stick It To Ya, that character is the exact same character as that right there. Hugh Syme also designed this album cover. So Hugh Syme did both these album covers within a couple of years of each other. And they both have that little symbol on this kind of wheel of life thing. Here it's a seal, and here it's that, that spinning wheel thing. But there's one other thing. Check out the W right there on this spinning wheel, and check out the W right there on Whitesnake. Now, I'm not saying he did that on purpose, but it's kind of interesting that they both had this symbol and they both had the same W when you put those 2 side by side. Now, there's something way more interesting though. So I'm thinking, okay, this is Hugh Syme. There's got to be more things to find in here. So going beyond that, you've got the square right there. The square can symbolize a bunch of different things. But then as you go down the side, you've got these 2 wavy lines that symbolize Aquarius. Then you have the dot within the circle, which represents the sun. You go over here, you have the little cross inside the circle, which represents the earth. And then you have the sign of the moon right there. So you go, okay, I see kind of a pattern here. And those are all kind of on the top half of that inner circle. Then you go down to the bottom half where you have the words Serpens Albus, and you see these 4 other characters. But these don't look like this similar kind of symbols. These look more like letters or something. And so I thought, okay, these have got to mean something. Then I noticed that 2 of them are identical. Why would they do that? Okay, so I look at these a little closer and I think these actually look a little bit like Zodiac symbols. So that one right there is actually the Virgo symbol. This can't possibly be what I think it is, but there's 4 of these symbols down here. There's 4 guys in the band. So if your brain's going where mine is, I think, okay, I got to now go see what the Zodiac signs are for the 4 guys in the band. Virgo, guess who's a Virgo? David Coverdale is. And guess what? Neil Murray, the guy that played bass, also a Virgo, which would explain why they have 2 Virgos. Then I think, okay, now let me look up Ainsley Dunbar. Ainsley Dunbar is a Capricorn. That right there is the sign for Capricorn. Then I think, okay, we have 1 left, and it's John Sykes. What is John Sykes? And we have 1 more symbol there, and John Sykes is a Leo. And I looked at that and I thought, is that really the Leo sign? Because usually you have a enclosed circle, it kind of loops up and then it comes to a little squiggly at the end. But I looked it up and usually it has the closed circle, but not always. So anyway, do with that whatever you want to do. To me, the fact that it was done by Hugh Syme, that you have 2 of them that are both Virgos, we have 2 guys in the band that are Virgo, you kind of know what Hugh does. And I would imagine that that's just kind of a stylized version of the Leo symbol. And you have these 4 Zodiac symbols representing the 4 guys in the band. Don't know if you ever heard that before. I've never seen anybody talk about that. But those are what those things are. And again, like I said, do with that whatever you want to. I find this stuff incredibly fascinating, what these artists will often do with this stuff.